Living outside the box. It's a simple concept, simple thought, and it can be a simple application, but it all depends on what your box is and how motivated you are to stay out of it. So the first thing we want to do is kind of define boxes. So I look at three categories of boxes. Those three categories are brand new things, things that we want to hold on to, and things that we should get rid of. Brand new things are, you got a new Xbox, you got a new PlayStation, you got a new phone. In your house, you may have gotten a new refrigerator. You may have gotten new shoes. Even your food. Food comes in boxes. So all those things come in boxes that we use on a regular basis that new things are inside of. But we also have a second set of boxes that are things that we store. We want to hold on to. We don't want to get rid of them. So it's some good memories. Some things that like old cleats or an old t-shirt or even old phones, old video games, things like that we want to hold on to, that we may go back to every now and then, but it's not that often, but we don't want to get rid of it. And we also have, of course, have a box that we just consider trash, things that we put in there that are broken, like broken video games, broken phones, broken toys, ripped clothes, things that are too small that we're never going to wear again, that we didn't wear that much in the first place. But all those things are in those boxes as well. So we have those three boxes that we kind of put things inside of. Well, those three boxes also exist in our mind. So we have new things that we have that are recent memories, recent things that we're going through. So we have an experience that we went through this past weekend. We had something that we did today. We've got new phone, which means, new password. We have a new phone number. We have new cheat codes for a video game. We may even have new facts that we have because we read a book. We studied formulas. We were in class. We learned something new. All those things come to play as well. Those are the new things that we keep, that we basically are active in our mind. Then we also have our memories. Our memories are things such as a party that we had 2 years ago that we really had a good time on. We had a vacation. I had a good experience. I was in the play last year, and that play was awesome. I had a lot of fun. I was on the team, and I did a triple double, whatever it may be. But you have those memories that you go back to that kind of hype you up a little bit. Once again, it's not something that happened immediately, but it's something that you're proud of, that you hold on to. And then just like with the broken things that we have in our physical boxes, we have those things in our minds that we should get rid of too. Negative experience, negative thoughts that we have, that we hold on to. So maybe we did get a bad grade. Maybe we had a bad experience with somebody. Maybe we saw a bad experience, whatever it may be. But we have those things that are in our minds as well that we hold on to. Now, the problem is that negative box, a lot of people live in that box. So we don't focus on the new stuff that we just learned, that we just understood. We don't focus on the happy memories that we have. We focus on the negative things that have happened in our lives. We always focus on the negative aspects of something. Here's a good example. Let's say we're in school and you're taking a test. You get the test results back. When you look at the test results, do you look at how many you got right or how many you got wrong? You look at how many you got wrong. Our emphasis is always on the negative. I want to find out what I got wrong and not focus on what I got right. So I may have gotten, out of a 50 question test, maybe I got 45 of them right. Okay, I'm not celebrating the 45 that I got right. I'm focusing on the 5 that I got wrong. Why? Because that is our mindset. For some reason, our mindsets are focused on negative things versus positive. And a lot of that is the environment that we live in. If you look at news, if you look at TV, if you look at the internet, all those different things, the focus is always on the negative aspects, failures. We don't really see a lot that we're celebrating on successes. If it does, then it's a small little snippet. But when you look at the news every night, when you look at the news, it's always negative things. Our focus in our world is on the negative aspects on things instead of the positive aspects. And that can start to wear you down because now we look at ourselves in a negative light instead of on the positive side. We have succeeded. We've done things that are positive, and now we want to go through and celebrate those versus saying, oh man, I can't believe I missed those 5, versus saying, man, I got 45 of them right. So we have to change our mindset. I'm sure you've heard, and any adults that are listening to this have also heard, is your glass half empty or is your glass half full? Same glass, same amount of water. It's just a matter of how do you look at it. Do you focus on what you have or what you don't have? Positive versus negative. Now, once again, it's easy for us to go in and have that mindset, or to think about that mindset, not necessarily have it. But I want to kind of go into a little bit of history. So for me, one things I want you to understand is I have asthma. I've had asthma since I was about 4 or 5 years old. So that's always been something that I've had to deal with in my life. Now, also keep in mind that a 4 or 5 year old with asthma doesn't stop that child from wanting to be a very active child. So I was a very active child at 4 and 5, 6 and 7, all the way until I was older. So I was always active. The problem is active and asthma didn't always go together. When I was playing around with my friends, no big deal. We would go through and we would play. And because we had the rules, because we made up the rules, we made up the timing. If I decided I was tired and I didn't want to play a play, I just sat it out. No big deal. I didn't run. I didn't play. If I was playing basketball, I stayed on the back end of the court. If I was playing football, I didn't run a route. I didn't do anything. I just sat there and I just kind of catch my breath until I was ready to play again. No big deal. Because once again, we controlled the game. Now, fast forward a little bit to organized sports. I then was able, once I got old enough, probably about 4th grade or so, I was able to then play organized sports. First thing I tried to play, or I went out for, was football. Football's great. I love football. I want to be a wide receiver, catch the ball, run, all those different things that a wide receiver could do. So I would go out and I would play. We would have practice. I would then come home. Now, when I came home, to me, everything was fine. My grandmother, who I was staying with at the time, I would come home and she would hear me wheezing. Now, for her, she would hear it, it'd be like a whistle. For me, I couldn't even hear it because I just adjusted my breathing. I guess I blocked it out, whatever it was. I couldn't hear it. So I just went on, got home. I would come home and you can kind of see, I would come home and my shoulders would be like this because I was struggling to get air. But me, I didn't notice that I was doing it. I just knew that I was breathing. I adjusted my body so I could breathe and I was fine. Didn't even think about it. So every time I came back from practice, I was wheezing. Why was I wheezing? Well, once again, I have asthma. Football is played on the grass. What triggers my asthma? Grass. So every night I would come home wheezing continuously. So it went on for about another week or so, a week and a half, 2 weeks. And then discussion between my grandmother and my mom decided that, this probably isn't the best time for you to go out and play football because we don't know if it's going to get worse. It doesn't seem to be getting any better. So we're going to have you stop. Now, I'm a kid. I'm an active kid. I consider myself to be pretty good at football at that point in time, but I have to quit. Now, and it's not even the fact that I had to quit. It was also the fact of when I had to quit. I literally quit the football team the day before we got our uniforms. Brand new uniforms. This was a brand new team. We had brand new uniforms. They ordered them. They had the brand new uniform smell. It was awesome. So what did I get to do? The day before I quit, they showed them to us. We couldn't practice in them because it was raining. But they showed them to us and they showed them what they looked like. They were black and silver. Our team was named the Sugar Shack Raiders, which was once again based on a store that was in the community. So they sponsored the team. But we were the Raiders, which was the same colors as the NFL Raiders. At that time, it was the Oakland Raiders. So yes, our uniforms were exactly like those. And I got to see them, but never got to put them on. So as a child, devastated. Just broke my heart. So my friends were still playing. I would see them. I would see the uniforms, and it would just tear me apart. So, okay, football's done. I can't do that. So now the next organized sport I can play is baseball. So for me, I like the outfield because once again, I'm an active kid. I love to run. So fly balls come in, I can chase them down, I can run them down. Same scenario. The outfield is played in grass. So that didn't work either. Same thing. Came home wheezing, couldn't play baseball. So yes, at this point, I am pretty devastated as to my organized sports ability. I can still play in the neighborhood. I still play around with my friends in the apartment complex that we were in. Still play football, whether it was tag or tackle. There was a basketball court. We would go play. We would even race. So all those things, I was still active. But once again, because it wasn't organized, there wasn't a set time frame that I had to continue to do it. If I was tired, I just stopped. So that was hard for me. Now, that as a child is a true negative experience that you have to live with. So fast forward a little bit. So once again, this is about fourth grade when all this is happening. So we fast forward a little bit to now seventh grade. I'm now in junior high, and it's another level of organized sports. So I figure, okay, I can try it again. So I have a discussion with my mom, and we decide that, okay, you can go out for football again. So I was excited, ready to practice. Well, at that point, family situation happened, and I wasn't able to go out for football. So that one, I wasn't as devastated because it wasn't because of my asthma. It was a family situation. So I had to stop that. Now, after football, now comes basketball. Once again, I have asthma, but I like basketball. So I go out for the basketball team. I make it. Quick on the court, able to play, real easy. But once again, my asthma. So I played basketball, but I had my inhaler with me on the bench. So if I needed it, I can go over there, get my inhaler, and get back going again. So basketball, I'm playing basketball, everything's great, enjoying that. Now comes a little bit of the out of the box thing. So basketball season is over, we go into the spring sports. Spring sport is baseball. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go out for baseball again. I'm an active kid, still active, I still wanna do stuff. So I'll go out for baseball, or I'm going to go out for baseball. That's my mindset. So what I do is before I go out for baseball, I go to the batting cage and I set the speed to the slowest speed possible for the batting cage. Now, once again, playing baseball in the neighborhood is different than playing it organized, especially in the batting cage, because the batting cage comes at you pretty quick. So baseballs are coming, I'm swinging way late. Not even close to hitting the balls. So I'm like, man, this is not going to work out for me. So I stop. I decide, yeah, baseball's not going to be the thing for me. I just stopped that immediately. So what do? I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to give up on playing the sport. The only other sport for me to do at that point is track. Now, here comes the real out of the box thing. I wanted to run track, but I didn't want to just run. I wanted to do something different than anybody else was doing. Nobody that I knew was doing this. What is this? Pole vaulting. I said, I am going to go out for pole vault. Why? Because it's different. It's out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to give it a try. So I go and I start pole vaulting. And I pole vault, I practice, and guess what? I stop after 2 weeks. No way am I going to do pole vaulting. Yeah, I tried it. I was out of my box, out of my element, out of my comfort zone. And yeah, that wasn't working for me. So I said, okay, I'm still going to run, but I still need to do something different. There's a lot of people that can run fast, but I still want to do something different. So my different at that point was now hurdles. So I said, okay, well, let me try hurdles, because once again, my box, I can run. Everybody can run. Anybody can run. But doing hurdles is different, because now you got to run and jump. And I tried it. Wasn't bad. Tried again. Wasn't bad. Kept figuring it out. Wasn't bad. So guess what? I ran hurdles. I legitimately ran hurdles. I ran hurdles from the 7th grade all the way to the 12th grade. I ended up being one of the fastest in the city, which was awesome for me. That was an awesome experience. But once again, why did I run hurdles? Because it took me out of the box. Everybody else was doing everything else. I didn't want to follow what everybody else was doing. I wanted to create my own path. So my own path was the hurdles, and I enjoyed every bit of it. Now, also keep in mind, I have asthma. So think about the 2 sports that I decided to play. I played basketball and I ran track. 2 of the sports that you run the most in. And I have asthma and I'm going out for those sports. Didn't make a lot of sense, but to me it did, because track really played a second role for me. It wasn't just that I ran track. It was just that it also played where it helped me to control my breathing with my asthma. So once again, I'm 7th grade. My mindset is I'm tired of asthma holding me back. This is now my opportunity to go in and figure out how to control it. So I had my inhaler with me, but I tried not to use it that often. I tried to go in and control my breathing so that, yeah, I could still run fast, but at the same time, I wasn't so bad that I was shrugged up like this again by the time I finished. So yes, so I ran hurdles, ran track, and played basketball. Those were the 2 things that I did that really helped to set the tone for what I was doing. Now, in doing those sports, once again, it helped me to realize, or helped me to be able to focus on what I could do and not what I could not do. So I didn't let the fact that my asthma stop me from playing football because of grass. I also did not let it stop me from remembering that I couldn't play baseball because of grass. As a kid, I'm always in the grass. You should have seen my pants. I had grass stains all over the place. Why? Because I'm a kid. You can't keep me out of the grass. So I would deal with the consequences of that. But once again, I did not want to dwell on the fact that, yes, every night I would come home with asthma and my shoulders shrugged up because I'm struggling to breathe. I did not let that stop me. So no matter what your situation is, think bigger than that situation. Don't dwell on what you cannot do. Figure out what you can do. Figure out what adjustments you can make to go in and overcome those negative situations. So once again, I could have let those things that happened to me when I was in the 4th and 5th grade stop me from moving forward in the 7th grade, but I didn't. I understood those things, and I understood that I'm older and I still want to do these things. So I focused harder on overcoming those. So that's what I want us to take, is outside the box thinking. Now, you may be thinking, that's not that bad. And it's not. It's not. People have situations all the time. I'm just dealing with my situation. But what I want you to remember, what I want you to also understand is that those weren't the only 2 things that I was doing. So here comes the real huge out of the box thing. So not only did I consider myself to be a spectacular athlete in whatever I did, but specifically basketball and track, at the same time I was doing basketball and track, I was also in the choir. Yes, I've been singing in choirs since the 4th grade. So I had my zero bells when I was in junior high. And of course, I had the actual class, or the class itself, in high school. So, yes. So, at the same time that I was the spectacular athlete, I was a crooner too. I sang in the choir. It was the a cappella choir, which was the big choir at the school. And then also, in addition to that, I also sung in their little spin-off choirs or quartets or ensembles, for solo and ensemble contest, as well as special music that we were doing, almost like a show choir type thing. So I did that as well. Imagine that. So I'm on the basketball court playing basketball. I'm on the field. I'm on the track, running track. But at the same time, I'm in a robe singing in the choir. That box, gone. So this is what's funny, is that there was nobody, not in my small circle that I started out with in elementary school, in the larger circle that I created when I got into high school, there was nobody else in the entire school that was doing what I was doing. There was nobody else that was playing these sports and singing in the choir. Nobody. So guess what? I am my box. There is nobody else in the school like me. Did that bother me? Absolutely not. Why? Because I was comfortable in me. I was confident in my singing in the choir. I was confident on the track. I was confident on the basketball court. There was nothing that you could tell me that would stop me from doing any of those things. So yeah, when people would tease me, call me choir boy, talk about me when I had my robe on singing, or even there was also scenarios where I had a concert and a game on the same night. Yes. So I would go from the concert and run to the game, because the concert was a lot of times earlier than the actual game. So I would go from the concert to the game. And that was actually pretty good, because I would hate to go from the game to the concert and be all sweaty. That would be a bad situation. But that was my scenario. And I did that once again from 7th grade all the way through my senior year. And I enjoyed every bit of it. Like I said, there was nobody else that was doing what I was doing. So as far as a box, did not exist. Did not fall into any stereotype, anything that you would have this young black kid do. Singing in the choir, playing sports, and making pretty decent grades. So yeah, all these things were falling into place. Why? Because I was creating my scenario. So when you look at a box, don't look at what people are saying to you to put you in a box. Think about what it is that you want to do to create your own box. Or even better, no box at all. Box has limitations. Don't put limitations on what you can do. So when I say live outside the box, I'm not saying just live on the outside perimeter of the box. When you open up that box, look at everything around you. The sky is the limit. There is nothing that you cannot do. So with that, and when I say I was in the choir, once again, I was in the choir, I was in the ensembles, and I did something else. I also did handbells. Handbells, the ones where you just see the guys, you see them a lot of times during Christmas time. You would see them ringing the bells. I did that. Yes, me. I did handbells. I actually had fun doing them. Once again, I created my own box. Now, this is the one thing that also helped me to realize that I had to continue to do that. We went to elementary school. I can't remember what elementary school was, but it was in the district. And we were playing handbells. I think I played them for 2 years. My junior and senior years when I played them. But we went to an elementary school and we were playing them. And one of the teachers, and I think it may have been the music teacher, I can't remember, or one of the teachers of the classes, but they actually pulled me aside after we had finished playing. And literally, she thanked me for playing handbells. I was confused for a moment. And I wasn't sure why. And then she basically talked about being outside the box. She basically said that by seeing you, a young black man, playing handbells, it allowed the other kids of color in the school to realize that there's no limitation on what they can do. Growing up, you always hear, oh, black folks don't do this. We don't do that. We don't do this. We don't do that. Why? Why don't we? One of the things that I kind of laugh at, we always talk about, oh, black folks don't swim. Why? But that was our mindset. Part of it because some of the communities didn't have pools, but that was our mindset. I actually didn't learn how to swim until right before my freshman year of high school. And I'm glad I did because there was a test. And I, of course, passed it at that point. But by her saying that, it helped me to realize that in me shattering that box also affected other people. So sometimes you living outside the box is just what somebody else needs to see in order for them to also live outside the box. So yes, live your best life with no box, outside the box, infinite opportunities. But also by doing that, you're also showing other people that there is no box, that the opportunities for them to do whatever they want to do is infinite. So never, ever, ever conform to things that make you uncomfortable. Never, ever, ever conform to, let me back that up a little bit. Don't be disrespectful. There are things that you're going to have to do that you may not want to do, but it is the right thing to do. What I'm saying is, as you make choices in the things that you're going to do in your life, do things that at some point may make you uncomfortable, but it becomes comfortable. Because the one thing I didn't tell you as well was in elementary school, as well as singing in choirs, I also played the violin. So I played the violin for 2 years in elementary school. So I was in the orchestra, and then going to middle school, to junior high school or middle school, whatever you want to label it. I had to make that choice. And of course, singing was my passion. So I stuck with singing versus playing in the orchestra. But yeah, I also played the violin for 2 years. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. What's stopping you? So that whole situation, or that whole saying of, we don't do this, or you shouldn't do this. If it's not something that's going to harm you, why not try it? I look at everything nowadays, and there's so many opportunities out there. There's so many situations that are available for us. And for you all, literally the sky's the limit. Because this technology age allows you to do so much stuff in such a short period of time. You have more access now to stuff than I ever would have thought. When I did a research paper, I literally had to go to a library and look at an encyclopedia. If you don't know what an encyclopedia is, it's basically what Wiki became. It was information that was stored in books. And they would renew those books almost every year, if not every year. So every year there was a new set of encyclopedias. And we're not talking about 2 or 3 books. We're talking, a whole shelf of books. And you basically had to go through and research it. That was where you went. But now we have Google. And Google takes you to so much more information. So literally the world is at your fingertips. There's nothing that you cannot do. There's nothing you cannot access. If you want to see what it's like to live in London, go to YouTube. It's right there. Social media, as many positive things that are out there, there are negative things, but there's so much more positive. But once again, because of the society that we live in, they focus on the negative things. They focus on the things that aren't important. You figure out what's important to you. You figure out what you think you want to do, which direction you want to take. But as I said, live outside of the boundaries of a box. Don't let any negative situations stop you from trying again. You will either learn from it, which perfectly that's what you will do, is you'll figure out, okay, that's not what I need to do, and you'll go a different route. Or living outside the box also means don't try to do what everybody else is doing. If you want to get an A, and you know that on that last test you only studied for 2 hours and you got a B, then take that third hour, study a little bit more, get that A. Why? Because you don't want to be average. You don't want to be like everybody else. You want to excel. Practice more, whether we're talking an instrument, whether we're talking sports. If you're talking sports, and of course, okay, I'm going to practice more, and not only am I going to make the team, but now I'm going to be a starter. For an instrument, not only am I going to practice to make it into the ensemble, but I want to be first chair. I want to be the lead. I don't want to just be there. And that's what a lot of us are content on doing, is being average. I don't want us to be average anymore. You shouldn't want to be average because there's too many people already being average. We want to be excellent. We want to be at the next level. We want to be at the top of whatever it is that we want to do. So yes, it may take a little bit more effort. Think about everybody that's successful in this world. A lot of it didn't happen from just happenstance. They tried, they failed. They tried, they failed. They tried, they failed. Nobody ever succeeded on their first try. If they did, they got lucky. But then when they tried something different, I'm sure it failed. So even if you got lucky the first time, the next thing you tried, it's not going to work that first time. You have to continue to put forth the effort. You have to push a little bit harder than you did before. What that does is it pushes your boundaries. Once again, because we're out of the box, or we want to be out of the box, then we need to continue to press harder. We need to do things that nobody else is doing. We need to have a mindset that nobody else is having. So that's what I'm saying with your test scores, your instruments, your sports, whatever it is. Press harder, try more. Don't just be okay with making it. There's a next level that you can go to. So by being outside of that box, that it allows you to go in and be better than you even thought you could be. So don't be satisfied with just making it. Next level. And when you do take tests, try out for teams, whatever it may be, don't focus on the negative. Focus on the positive. Yes, a lot of our statistics are, okay, you made 6 out of 10 free throws. Okay, don't focus on the 4 that you missed. Focus on the 6 that you made. Okay, I got an A on this exam. Don't focus on the fact that you missed a couple. You want to go through and focus on the things that you actually got right. So we need to change our mindsets from focusing on things being the glass being half empty, to looking at what we have. We have to go through and make sure that we focus on the positive aspects on what we have in our life. Think outside the box, think positively, and don't let negative experiences stop you from progressing to your next level. Outside the box thinking will get you to the next level of your life. Let's do it. Thank you.